For more on this, I'm joined by Tom Packer, who is a fellow at Rothermere American Institute, and he joins us live from London. Thank you so much for being with us on the NewsHour today. I want to get your assessment first on the way that DeSantis decided to announce that he's running to be the next president of the United States. It's quite different compared to his counterparts, isn't it?
It is indeed. I mean, Donald Trump did a slightly unusual version by having massive rally for it, or attempted massive rally. But yeah, he tried to launch it via Twitter, partly because Elon Musk has become something of a right-wing American hero in recent days. He's long been an American hero, but he's increasingly been associated with the conservatives the last few months. And there were technical problems. So you could say you could have worse things than having too many people want to listen to you, but it's always dangerous trying to launch things in an experimental way. And it bit DeSantis quite hard in that he's a lot of the headlines are about it being disrupted. Having said that, they were still able to launch ahead. He did interviews shortly afterwards, and I doubt many people will remember how he launched it in a month's time. It's not very important for his campaign.
Right, and Trump versus DeSantis. It's going to be a battle to watch indeed. How much support do you think DeSantis is going to be able to poach from Trump?
I think that's the million-dollar question. He's starting, if you look at the polls at the moment, Donald Trump's got roughly 50% of the support among Republicans. DeSantis has about 20. Huge numbers of people are undecided. And what you might call the people who are currently weaker candidates have a few. I would say his chances are quite good, but I think people may have been slightly over-egging them a few months ago. They're now underrating them. Donald Trump's ratings have gone up because he's been in the news a lot. It's easy to forget that DeSantis isn't nearly as famous as Donald Trump. So the fact he's still at 20% in the polls, where most Americans haven't heard much about him, is arguably quite a good sign. And one interesting aspect is those voters so far who've been switching backwards and forward between Donald Trump and DeSantis tend to be strongly conservative. So DeSantis has made a very conservative record the last few months in Florida. Donald Trump has vulnerabilities on that. So DeSantis is going to be trying to make that argument that Donald Trump failed to achieve lots of conservative things, or is taking somewhat less conservative stands on issues like abortion. And I think there's a potential for that to work. It's not guaranteed, but it's certainly a reasonable shot.
And what do you think is in it for Joe Biden here? I mean, his popularity ratings have been going down recently, which isn't too great. What does he have up against him this time round?
Yeah, so Joe Biden's quite a weak incumbent. His poll ratings are quite low, possibly dragged down by the economy a bit. He is seen as more moderate than the average Democrat, which might help him. I think, from his point of view, this is probably very good news in the sense of the Republicans battering each other. If you're the Democratic incumbent, there's nothing not to like. He only has very weak opponents, so I think he's basically guaranteed to win renomination unless he pulls out because of illness. And I think he would probably rather run against Donald Trump than any of the other candidates. Like DeSantis potentially has some vulnerabilities. He could be seen as too conservative, too free market. Mm-hmm. But Donald Trump has January the 6th, as your report was showing, all this kind of baggage. Doesn't mean Donald Trump can't win, but I think he's the candidate Joe Biden would want to run against.
All right, Tom Packer, thank you so much for being with us here on the NewsHour today. It was a pleasure speaking to you.